thing we can get out of this. So,
Right.
but I'm Jay, by the way.
Jay, Mike, nice to meet you.
Yep, nice to meet you too. What do you do in the band, bro?
I play guitar. I
Okay,
play
cool. That
guitar. You know.
sweet. That's what I thought. I finding information about individual members of your band was a little had to dig kind of deep. I'm familiar with Nick because Nick he used to be in Hell Followed With, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my
That's,
old band jammed with him before, and then with Wounded Touch a few years ago, I think it was like 2023 at this point. You guys played this. It was like a hardcore metal fest at Skeletones.
yeah.
Yeah. So I play in a band called Iron Sharpens Iron,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but unfortunately, that day I didn't get to see you guys, right? Because I've heard of you guys because Larry, the guy that is in Iron Sharpens Iron with me, he's a big fan and he's been friends with Nick for a while, you know. And
Yeah.
I believe that night my car got towed.
Uh,
So I didn't get to check out any of the bands that were after us because I didn't have nowhere to put my equipment because my car was gone. So I was dealing with all that. But I did catch you guys out at it was the Bleeding Through at
yeah.
the Crowfoot, right?
Yeah.
Like the 20th anniversary. This is
Yeah.
love,
Yep. Yeah. That was a great show. That was a
dude.
great show. A lot of
You
fun.
guys, you guys were badass, man.
Thank you.
You got. I was so impressed. I liked you guys' style. You know what you came out with, and we're gonna get a little bit into that. So I guess if it's just gonna be me and you, are you ready, Mike?
Yeah.
All right,
Let's do it.
all right, cool, hell yeah. So I guess just with you, tell me a little bit about your journey into music and like what drew you to. So real quick, the Metal Maniacs podcast, we mostly focused on like extreme metal or like, really heavy stuff. So obviously it takes a certain kind of individual to really like this abrasive music or grow into wanting to play it, because, you know,
Yeah.
high risk, low reward.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, just tell me a little bit about you, man, how you got into playing and how you got into this aggressive style of extreme metal, basically.
Yeah. I think from like early on, like I wanted to be in a band. Like I just that's just what I wanted to do. I mean, I kind of knew in like elementary school, but I didn't really get my first instrument till I was in sixth or seventh grade. But my mom always had music playing in the house, so it's always a vibe that I liked. And then it wasn't, my parents split up when I was really young too, so I ended up having a couple older stepbrothers, and they just kind of fed me everything. I was in elementary school, I was going to a Catholic school, and like my family was the only one who was like really divorced in like my grade, so I didn't really have anything to really grab onto.
Mm.
And when my older stepbrother started kind of feeding me like mix CDs and stuff, a lot of it was like Corn, Slipknot, like all that was kind of just like the surface level stuff.
Yep.
And that just it kind of just took over from there, and that just kind of spiraled. And then of course, I come from an era where compilations, summer samplers,
Mm.
fall samplers, all that stuff. So it just kind of steamrolled pretty quick.
Yeah, one thing into the another. You got to have those gateway bands. I always say that, like Korn or Slipknot, or for
Yep.
me, I'm a little bit older, so it was kind of more like the Metallica's, Megadeth, Ozzy, stuff like that. But it all kind of leads to somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. And once you get, to a certain point, then you kind of want to start going back to
Yes.
what influenced the bands that you started listening to. And then you get into Sabbath, Anthrax, and Slayer, all of that stuff. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So, what was your adventure then? You started playing guitar a little bit after your brother fed you some music, and you knew you wanted to be a guitar player for a while. So, how did this lead to getting into Wounded Touch?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like the riff and thesis,
Okay.
that I had that since like 2005. That I had that
Yeah.
since 2005. So when that kind of came out, it was like it was cool because it was just old and I've been kicking around forever, and it just worked with this. So, yeah, I was happy about that one.
Man, a good riff really never dies, does it? Like it can hold the test of time, you know?
It did every bit of 20 years.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes I'll listen to back to old riffs or demos and I'll be like, that's not good, nah, that's not good. But every once in a while you'll find a good gem in there and you're like, that one still rocks, you know?
Oh yeah, I found my old MacBook. It had a bunch of riffs on it, and I was like, "That those are going to stay on that."
Yeah, yeah. All
Yeah,
right, cool. So did you must have played in bands before Wounded Touch or
yeah, yeah. I literally like local shows and stuff too. Like we were playing around. I think I met Nick and Jackson with his band and helped followed with. This would have been 2007, maybe 2008. Um, and that was just kind of like started. You know, it was like a group of friends from high school and stuff. Kind of starting out, and then after of course high school, you know, I joined another band, and you know they started actually touring and stuff, so I got kind of exposed to that, you know, in my like early 20s. And then after that, I started playing in a band with Kyle, our other guitar player. There's a band called Steamroller from Flint, and that would have been 2011 or 2012 that him and I got together and started doing that. um, and then we did that for a couple of years. So him and I have like just been off and on in bands together since like 2011. Um, and then I had like another band too. It was like kind of like an indie project or stuff that I kind of did everything myself. And it just kind of got to a point where it's like, I'd rather do Wounded Touch. And that's when I kind of left all that to focus on this. And, you know, here we are.
okay, cool. So that brings us up until what, 2018, late 2017 cuz your first release was in 2019 in November, right? So your first EP from this day zero forward.
Yeah, I think we got together, like we started talking late 2017.
Okay.
And then I think moved into like spring and summer of 2018, where we were kind of writing, hunkering down, and kind of just doing the stuff behind the scenes, um, to kind of just, you know, launch the band and stuff. And then I think it was like December of 2018 is when we kind of like booked like a show in our drummer Jeremy's basement, and we just kind of invited friends out and stuff and just kind of did it, launch the band that way, you know, something, you know, close with friends and everything. And then I think we started really kind of doing stuff publicly and playing out like January of 2019.
Okay, cool. So you guys were just kind of writing and just getting all of the affairs in order, so to speak, for that.
Yeah. It was cool. Yeah, it was a weird chance that we were able to sign with Smart Punk during that too. You know, not really doing anything. We had like other members too that kind of helped, you know, push that to happen. But yeah, Smart Punk, you know, was, you know, kind of behind us on, you know, day one. Well, not day one, I would say, but definitely before that first EP dropped.
And now is that like the YouTube channel you guys' videos and stuff is on?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought. Um,
Yeah, they sponsor like all the old Warp tours and stuff like back in the day, and like all that stuff you see at all the smart punk tents.
yep.
Say
Oh
that,
yeah.
but
So, how many guys are in your band? 5 then?
yeah, five.
Okay, cool. I've seen some pictures where there were like 4 members, so I was just wondering what.
Yeah, we've had a lot of friends kind of come in and fill the bass position over the years.
Okay.
You know, they started off with our buddy Nick, and then I think after that I asked my buddy Ben, who I've been playing on and off in bands with and stuff too. And as you know, he kind of was with us up until the record came out, and then he was kind of like, hey, like you guys are getting busier than, you know, I'd like to be. So he kind of just nicely stepped down and stuff too. And then we got another buddy Dylan, and you know, he's, apprenticing, as an electrician, commercial electrician. So he's doing busy with that. And then he's expecting a second. So it was kind of just like, as you
Yeah.
get older, those things, you got to pick your battles.
Oh yeah, for sure. Time gets limited, especially when the kids start coming into the picture, and you got to decide what's best too. I mean, if you're doing electrician work, at least you're going to make some money because we know there isn't a whole lot of money to be made in extreme metal. You're not in this for the money.
No, that in like our mid-30s, like it's not why we do it.
Yeah,
We've been very fortunate that it's been paying for itself.
Mm.
And we've just been able to continue to do it. Like, and that's honestly all I can ask for.
Yeah, that's perfect, man.
Yeah.
It's a very, very strong hobby horse. I get it. I do the same thing. With the podcast, I do it because I love it and I want to just talk to as many musicians that I can, people that I have links with. And same with playing in the band. We do it and we play shows and stuff. But, if we do it, we do it. If not, it's whatever, right? So,
yeah.
But we just do it because we want to play loud through amps and aggressive music and scream into the mic and, that type of stuff. So, so just real quick, I went through the whole discog. I kind of did some homework here just so we have some talking points. I enjoy you guys' music. And I always go from like inception of the band or the first release until the latest because I like to hear the progression, right? And kind of hear how the musician grows. And being a musician, I kind of understand that. So, but just a few notes on the EP. So, just so I'm correct on this, so it says from this day, is that 0 forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that makes sense. Okay. And then for me, it just comes out pummeling. It's like the best way to describe it is very saturated and raw. Like there's just kind of, Nick has a lot of distortion on his voice too. So it just adds to this angst. And I really like that about you guys' band. You guys are really good. And I'll speak to this in an example here in a minute. But you guys have a really great music's all about tension and release, right? You guys just really know how to crank up that tension, but you always at least let it release it, in some aspect or some form, even if it's not in that song or whatever. But, I love the EP, that Excision, that song was especially dirty. It just sounded like kind of a wall of like just meanness and angst on there. And then like, kind of more towards the end on My Fractured Path, you guys almost kind of branch off into like almost rock and like more chord oriented stuff. And you really keep it interesting. And then like when you guys do decide to groove, because there's a lot of bands out there, right, that do the breakdown and the same formula. You guys kind of have your own thing where it's like you put those grooves in there or the breakdowns when they matter. You don't overdo it. And you just have a great way to release that tension. So, kudos to you on that opening EP. It's really good work, man.
Thank you.
So, I'm going to speak on two more things, and then I want to kind of maybe get in. I'm assuming you do a lot of the writing.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
cool. So I get real interested in the writing process as well. But and then so EP comes out, right? You guys are playing shows, whatever, or you're not playing shows because all of a sudden COVID hits. You guys started a band or like had a release at the end of 2019, and all of a sudden here we are, 2020. That probably kind of threw a wrench in your system, huh?
Yeah. God, yeah, it was really eye opening, getting that like taken away. It definitely felt like something was like missing. Yeah, it was hard to adjust to. It's something that you've been doing since you were 14 years old, and now you can't do it at all. I definitely think Nick and I struggled really hard with that. But we kind of just stayed at home and stuff. And I remember like the first practice that we had, when we were just like, fuck it, let's just get together or whatever. It was here in my basement. And it I don't know, it was just so like we needed it. It was so a couple months. We were all just working, and Nick was an EMT on, in Detroit, like the heart of Detroit. So like he was dealing with all sorts of just weird stuff at that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, COVID definitely threw a big wrench in all that and stuff too. And I think like kind of coming out of that too, at the time, Nick was talking with Trevor from the Black Dahlia like a lot. They were conversing about movies and everything else. And I think like our first like big show coming back out of COVID was with Black Dahlia at the Loft in Lansing. And that show was very, very special to us, as being able to play Lansing and that venue specifically, because it's not around anymore. It didn't really last. Well, no, that was 2019. It was 2019. I think that was November of 2019 or something like that, right before like March, the spring of 2020 happened, and that it all got cut off.
Yeah.
But yeah, that show, and then like that was like our last kind of big show before like it was all taken away, and it just got hard. But yeah, I remember that first practice was definitely very beneficial for all of us mentally.
Yeah, I mean, being able to play with Black Dahlia Murder, and then you guys are just coming out with the EP, and then everything shutting down after that. That had to be kind of a blow anyway, because it's like that's kind of riding high. Black Dahlia is one of the premier death metal bands in the world. Period. So
100.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, man.
No.
That's a great look for Wounded Touch, though. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, Trevor was always very, very nice to us. He ended up doing guest vocals on the full length later on, and yeah, he was very kind to us, and did stuff for us that he didn't need to. So
right. Yeah, So now we're in 2020, March, and then you guys come out with the cover, My Own Summer. Can you tell me just a little bit about that? Where'd that come from? Was that more of a DIY effort? I seen some pictures of you guys like look like you were recording and you all had masks on, so I'm kind of assuming that maybe somewhere around then is when you were recording this. So
that was actually wild. We did that at like the beginning of March. I think it was like the first week of March. We recorded 2 songs, Suicide Note, Forgery, and that went on like a 4-way split through Bitter Melody. And then we did that Deftones cover because, we were going to release it during summer for, fun. And literally, I think like as we were like finishing up, like reports started coming out of like shit shutting down. And we were like, oh, okay, well, at least we have this to kind of like fill the void as, time goes on. And then, us being, me and Nick kind of being smartasses, we ended up kind of modifying the cover and just putting the mask on the Deftones cover, and released it during COVID, because nobody could go out and enjoy anything or do anything. So that was kind of like a nice thing to kind of pass off as to kill some time between not playing.
Yeah, it was a really well done cover. Now, as far as like the clean singing, that's all Nick.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Nick, very, very talented as a vocalist. I mean, it was kind of one of the main reasons why like I was kind of drawn to him. Like after his band Sunlight's Bane broke up. And like Kyle and I were, Steamroller had just broken up, and I think it was like a comment on Facebook or something. He's like, hey, like you guys like down to get together? And we were like, yeah, let's see what happens. And that's just how it started.
Yeah, his vocal approach is completely different from like in Hell Followed With. That's more of a kind of like a deathcore, like a straight.
Yep. And
then the way he approaches you guys' music is like just almost a completely different singer. So I really appreciate that about him.
Oh yeah, there's his range and things that he can do with his voice is impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so then it looks like in November that year, you said that the Suicide Note Forgery came out, right? For me, I listened to the split. I thought you guys' song on there was excellent. The other bands were not that they were bad, but they were kind of noisy, and sometimes that noise stuff can get a little much. But I loved how this song stuck out, and then you kind of had some clean parts in there, like a little guitar and stuff. And for you guys, I love how you kind of sneak in this melody where it's like there is a lot of that discord and anxious, tonal chords that you guys have, the discords, but then like there is melody. One of the guitars is playing that, and you guys play off that really well, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've always loved hardcore. I've loved it, but I do feel like sometimes you're in a box with it. And, with this, it's like, I want to, do the hardcore stuff. I want to do the metalcore stuff. I want to do the post-hardcore stuff. Like, I want to be able to, cohesively put all of that together because it's everything that I like. But that's kind of always been my main thing behind kind of like writing and stuff too. Like I want to be able to kind of touch as many points as I can while having it make some kind of sense.
Yeah. And I think that's a great segue then to go into the Americanxiety. That came out on 4/4/2022, so we kind of got over the pandemic. And then, so see, there was a little break, but there was a break for everybody. But for me, I just have the question, like, kind of what happened and how did you approach this different? Because to me, there was kind of a shift in the band, so to speak. You guys kept all of that rawness to you and almost, that heavy distortion impact. But there's a lot more openness and more groove and melody and some song structure on here. So was that a conscious choice just to kind of explore your sound, or?
I think a part of it is Jeremy, the drummer, and I got more comfortable with each other. I think during that, so it's like, there's certain things on that record where like he played what was in my head without us having a conversation about it. There's certain influences, like Deftones, Glassjaw, there's a bunch. There's so many bands, but like those two, like specifically, there's things and stuff that he's pulled. Number 12 Looks Like You. Okay. There's some things that he pulls from like those certain drummers and stuff that comes out in some of the songs on that, and it was like kind of like a cool thing that I was all smiling about it as I was like riffing, because I was like, dude, you just played what was in my head, so I was able to just stay quiet, and then after everything was recorded and after everything was done, it's just like, dude, like this part right here is like perfect. Like, and try and gas up your homies that way. So, but yeah, that I think him and I kind of finding a stride with that too. Kyle was still living in Michigan at that point too. So like him and I were able to get together a little bit more frequently too. And kind of, demo ideas and stuff like that. Ben at the time was able to kind of bring his like on the go studio and stuff, and then like kind of like demo these things in random basements during that time. So so we were able to kind of like really do like rough pre-pro with that and really kind of see, and then be able to kind of change some things on the record. There's still obviously some things I would change about that record, but for the most part, like it happened very, very quickly writing it, and even quicker in the studio. Like we were, Andy Nelson was like, hey, like, let's do 8 days. And we were like, yeah, no, we 5 days.
Yeah.
So
right.
We did that and wrote two songs of that record in the studio and got it all done in 5 days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this actually brings up a question for me. I've noticed a lot of your songs are on the shorter side, which I'm a fan of. I loved when I pulled up your catalog and one was like 4 songs, 10 minutes. And then I'm just like, well, that's cool because like, that's enough to take in right there. You drag it on to 80 minutes for a LP. It can get a little extensive, as I'm wearing a BT Bam hat. But
hey, Furnace Fest, and they played literally only songs from the first 3 records. Him and I were like ecstatic. Like after they were done playing, like I was like straight up like, I want to go home. Like nothing's gonna top this. Like the night was done for me.
They're so good, man. Especially live. Yeah. It's crazy.
Like, and that was like another thing impressive. Like Tommy didn't miss a single like lyric. Like they were locked in. They were fantastic. And obviously they've stayed away from those songs. Obviously to them, they've comparing to what they're doing now, like that stuff's like amateur hour to them, and
Oh,
they just, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, they're just all amazing players. Blake on the drums, just insane, dude.
Yeah, dude, yes.
But getting back to the 2022 release, American Anxiety, you know, I heard the little bit of singing on the cover, right? But then you guys have the song Condolences and Autumn Nights. You know, this is where he comes in with a little bit of singing. And I love the little singing in the break. And, like, not only are you guys really good at tension release, you also have a really cool dynamics. You know, because if you're going at 100 miles an hour all the time, that isn't as effective as if you guys kind of break into a softer, and it's not even really softer. It's just like a different dynamic with the guitar. You know what I mean? Like, and I think you guys do that really well as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of those songs too. Like, again, like that was like our first kind of step into like opening like things up. Like, you know, what influences are like, you know, kind of all the similar among, you know, and I think like a lot of us were talking like, you know, Poison the Well at that time too. Like, you know, I was like really on like a heavy Snapcase like kick. Obviously some of those riffs I busted out from 15, 20 years prior, like
05 or
yeah. You know, it was just kind of like that record that like I like needed to like make at that time. Like music ways.
Yeah, it's an awesome record, man. I really enjoyed it. The Splinter Waltz. I had a question on that. There's almost like this kind of like keyboard type synth sound on that song. Is that something that you guys pipe in live, or is that like a guitar effect that's almost keyboard like? Do you know what I'm referring to?
What?
The Splinter Waltz.
Yeah.
There's like a melody. It's like an overtone over like the riff, and it's like almost a keyboard part. And
I think those might just be open chords and like a certain kind of like pedal.
Okay, that makes sense too.
Whether it be like a Holy Grail or like Carbon Copy, one of those like weird reverb pedals, I think.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it was just a unique sound, and I was like, that's pretty cool. It's almost keyboard synthy, but I could also see where the guitar would be playing that too. You know.
Yeah.
Then you got Last Night of Autumn. There's some clean singing and some atmosphere in that. And then obviously the excerpts from A Violent Thesis. You know that features Trevor. The video was awesome, man. Now correct me if I'm wrong. Do you do some vocals too?
Yeah.
Okay, because I swear to God, in that video you were like doing some screams like before Trevor's part came in.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That video was really, really cool. It just like so happened that he was in Michigan because Black Dahlia was about to leave for a tour, and filmed that music video in Nick's basement. Like all of our music videos, I think except one, like we've done ourselves. And you know, I take a lot of pride in that. Like I feel like music videos are kind of like a thing that nobody really cares about. You know, TRL is not a thing anymore, and like, but we do really care about like the art and visuals of stuff. So, and we're also like all really into horror movies. So like we kind of like took a page from Bug and literally just tinfoiled Nick's entire basement, got blue lights, and yeah, Trevor came over and yeah, we hung out and did that music video, which was really cool.
Yeah, that was an awesome video. I'm aware that Nick does the videos because Larry's always like, well, we got a record or we're going to be recording soon, a full length, and he's always like, we're going to do some music videos, and he always just says, we got to get a hold of Nick. So I'm like, yeah, whatever you want to do, man. He knows what he's doing. So, you know, yeah, that. Oh,
on that.
What's that?
I'll follow the man into the dark on those music videos.
Yeah, for sure. So, but man, even that song with Trevor, that's really awesome. I mean, it's just downright pissed after his part too, when you guys kind of break it down, and then it kind of breaks down a little bit more, and then instead of having like those clean breaks, it's just like that feedback comes through. It's just fucking angry, and it's hard not to be like,
thanks, man.
It's sweet, dude. So then moving on from that album, then you got the Sleep a Cicada Would Enjoy. So as I was listening to this, I didn't like so the track comes in, right? And for me, this is like even more of a different track because it's a little longer track. It's a little more repetitive, and then there's like catchy. There's almost a catchiness to it, like the way he repeats that multiple times. And then when you guys get heavier at the end, then he starts repeating that, but he's like screaming it, so it's like kind of sticks in your head. And I just thought like, now this is great songwriting, man.
Thank you. Yeah. We've tried to, like I said, I try and play a little bit of ball, too. Like, with the, I don't know if you really even call it music theory or pop sensibility or anything like that. Cause I mean, again, it's aggressive, music, hardcore and stuff, back in the day, I'm used to writing everything parallel and nothing repeats. And, but now, it's just like, it's cool when you can bring a riff back and it makes sense, or, um, actually playing with song structure, I think, is where that kind of like really started to take off. Cause I think the first record happened so fast. We were just happy to do it. Like, even going in to record it, I was kind of like just ignorant and like just having a good time and just did it. I think with with that one, we were able to kind of like take a step back and really like think about it. Cause I think we that one mostly we wrote together in a room. I think that's like the one song that was like mostly like all of us, putting it together.
Nice. And I don't know, maybe I talked over myself, but like I said, a lot of you guys' songs are shorter. Is there a reason or a formula behind that? Or are you guys just writing what you feel, or like what does that process look like?
I think then it was just like the feeling. I think we were just excited and like didn't really think about song structure or anything like that. Like, it was kind of like a get in, say what you need to say, throw your back out and move along. With this, we just finished another full length, and it's definitely a lot more thought out. Structure wise, everything, songs are a little bit longer now, so I think it's kind of just us like finding what we want to do. Like I said, we all have loved hardcore. We've all loved the quick, songs in and out, but yeah, with this, it's like, we can kind of stretch our legs a little bit and, try and explore, different genres, different sounds, things like that.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That seems like a common trajectory bands are on. It was kind of like the same with some of the music that I've done. Like at first, you're just trying to like get in there, impress everybody or play for other musicians or whatever it is, like up the
Yeah.
technicality, and then we call it here on the show riff soup. Like you can kind of get a little, you know what I mean? It just kind of gets a little, and I've been there, done that. But then as you mature and as your tastes mature, you kind of realize that, hey, maybe I don't have to write 14 riffs and put them together. Like I could write like 6 and then repeat them, and then it makes the job a little easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is always nice to like kind of have that set up and have there be a chance that there is like a lyric or like a hook that somebody actually catches on to and connects with. Nick's lyrics, to me, have always like taken everything else like the next level up, just because it comes from a place that's just really sincere. He's I say this, but he's normally hard on himself too when it like comes to like writing lyrics and have them like mean something, and he's always been good about sharing that too. Where he's coming from too. So it's, kind of like a collective thing, like moving forward, like, this is the vibe, this is the feeling behind it. This is, it just brings that, emotional level, like that up the next level.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd noticed too. You guys' song titles are like kind of, metaphoric, in a way, like you could interpret them in a certain way. And I really like song titles like the ones you guys have because of the fact that you see, how many bands do you see with the band title like salt in my wounds, or just some everyday like kind of real giving metal a bad name type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like some people have gotten creative. Like I liked the Chariot was always interesting with their like song titles and stuff too. I think One Wing, like they literally just had like one word, like
Mm.
song, all bold, like all the way down. Like I think their first record were like mile long fucking song titles and shit. Like, um, yeah, I've always kind of been interested in like looking at track listing and like kind of what that looks like.
Yeah, and that was a thing there kind of like in the early mid 2000, tens or whatever, that like all of the metalcore and all those bands just had all those weird long names about Al Bundy's winning touchdown or whatever. Like I just saw this real off the wall shit. You're like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Like they're just kind of coming up with some shit. I mean, the See You Next Tuesday, they got some crazy song titles too, but they kind of come from that ilk. When they were on the show, I kind of talked to them about that, and so they kind of were cut from that cloth.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the ending breakdown of Here Take This Pill is probably one of my favorite breakdowns of theirs of like all time. I've told Drew that too. It's just like, dude, that's that one.
Yeah, though, man, he's a monster, dude.
Oh
He's
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, I can't comprehend what he's doing. It's
Oh,
beyond me.
yeah, I mean, I'm not a slouch on the guitar, but a couple things he does, I had to ask him, like, how the fuck are you even making that sound, dude? That doesn't even make sense to me.
Nope.
I don't understand it. So, all right, cool. So then, the Back to Sleep, that came out 2023. You guys put out the one track, and then the rest were live songs. What was was that the initial idea for the EP, or did what does that look like, Mike?
It would I think it was kind of like an afterthought. Like we did that song and then we did like a run in the UK. And there was a venue called Little Buildings, and they said that, hey, we recorded your set and stuff, and we are like, okay, like, like mix it down and send it to us or whatever. Like it would be cool to have. And then, we were just kind of like, well, let's, instead of this being like a one off like single, that's probably just going to get buried and stuff. Let's just try and add, this to it and have it be, something exciting, something that, shows that we played somewhere else. But yeah, it was kind of like an afterthought, and like it's not pressed to anything. It's only like streaming. Like it was just, we had a lot of fun doing the music video for Sleep Like a Cicada, but I say fun, but it was March and snowy and fucking cold.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
around.
so and then 2024, here we are, submitted for Disapproval. So now that's one of the songs that was on the split you guys did with the EP was Traumatic Entanglement, right? And then
Yeah, yeah,
Fall 50 Feet was the other band on it.
yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool. And then so you had submitted for Disapproval. That video was cool. You guys were kind of all in that same room, but with all the effects and everything. I thought that was a cool ass video.
Thank you. Yeah, me and Nick went to Home Depot and bought a bunch of wood, and wanted to like rip off like the 90s, rotating room and stuff like that. And like obviously we didn't have like the big access to like keep it going and moving and everything. So we ended up just kind of building the box and then, tipping it over on its side, and we're like, all right, get in. So that's kind of how we did that one. But that one was fun.
Yeah, that was a cool video. That particular song too, to me is just like kind of this ball of yarn or rope, and it just like unravels and unravels and unravels, and then finally get all the way to the end and it all the way unravels. That's the tension release I'm talking about, because you guys kind of come in nasty as hell, and then you just kind of like, and then it gets a little groovier and a little more open, and then by the end it's like just really open. I just thought that was a interesting way to build that song. Like it's just one big tension release. I thought that was really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. That song came together really, really quick.
Well,
Um,
oh, go ahead, Mike.
oh yeah, sorry. That one came together really quick. And then the other one I spent a little bit of time on. Um, Basically, I mean, those two songs kind of turned out the way they did because of Matt Marquez and Grayson Stewart from Norma Jean. Matt was the one who recorded those two songs. But that weird drop tuning or whatever is something I picked up from Grayson. Grayson showed me, and it was just kind of fun to get into that song and try a completely different tuning and something completely new that I've had no idea that that's how you did it. So shout out to both of them.
Oh yeah, that's cool as hell. Um, and now it kind of sounds. We'll talk about this. Something we'll talk about like kind of what's coming up next in a second. I heard you allude to it, but we'll talk about that in just a second. I just want to know like how do you go about writing then, man? I know you can pick riffs from 2005 and hear them if you like, but like how does that look for the band? You know?
So normally it's just as time's gone on, I ended up getting like an interface and like things like that, and some plugins and stuff, so I can kind of start like demoing songs or skeletons and kind of have structures and stuff. I'll put it to a click. I can send it to Jeremy. Jeremy can, kind of get an idea or have some ideas or ask me like what I'm thinking about this part and stuff. And then, kind of we get together and it's like a little bit more like hashed out, like right off the bat. Cause I've like already sent him something that's, kind of structured and in time. And then with Kyle, it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to see my family here this week. Like, do you have any time? And then I'll drive up to Flint and then, I'll bring my, interface and stuff, and he'll tinker out some leads and stuff. And we've kind of just done it. We did it that way. Since he's moved out there.
Yeah, he's moved out to New York, you said? Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yep.
So what is so that's kind of as far as doing shows or tours or anything, what does practice look like for you guys?
Kyle's a special case. I mean, I say that with love. Like he can literally just like pick up a guitar and just, it's like no time has passed. It's like he's like one person that can just like hop in and just be like good to go. So it's like, we send him a set list or whatever, and he'll be like, oh yeah, okay. And then he'll riff on it on his own time. And then, he shows up, and we're lucky if we get a practice before a show, but sometimes we kind of just go in like cold, and, it's been for the most part, like good, it's been fine. I think we've been playing with each other long enough where it's like, all right, we can do this, so, yeah, it's just kind of adjusting to what it is.
Yeah, so the whole band, like you guys don't even jam without him and then just hope that he has his parts right?
I mean, it's the stuff that we play is like all recorded and everything, so it's like nothing like new,
Okay.
So I can go ahead and make a playlist on Spotify and just play along for, a week beforehand, and, we're good.
Okay.
And so it's not really how we'd like it, but, with him traveling and money and all of us having families and stuff, like we enjoy doing it. We want to do it, and however we can make it happen, that's just what we'll do.
The only way I would see that would be any kind of problematic would be more for Nick, just because like as guitar players or drummers, we can kind of pick up and practice on our own. Vocalists, they have to do a little something extra, either scream in the car or just because like keeping the vocals like broke in, that's a big, from doing vocals then not doing them for a long time. It's a whole different type of exercise,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how he does it. I like when we did that like week long UK tour, like the guys from Geist were like, hey dude, like come up and like do this Curse cover with us. And I was like, sure. Yep. Did it 2 nights and my voice was fucking done. Like really fun, like the last 2 nights. And like, I had to like take like 3 nights off or whatever. And then I like did one and I was like, all right, like I need to take another little break. And then by the end of the tour, I did like the last day that we were there, I did it in London, and yeah, man, my voice was done.
So, now when you guys are writing or whatever, and you send stuff to Jeremy, does he send stuff like give you notes or anything back and be like, "Hey, that'd be cool if we did this part here or there," or is he just like, "Hey, this is badass, let's jam it"?
Yeah, Jeremy's just down. Like normally, like if he's like unsure about a part or hears like 2 different ways that he could play it, like he'll ask like, "Hey, like what are you envisioning?" But what he'll do sometimes is actually send me a beat,
Oh,
and we'll go from like we'll go based off that. Um, I'm trying to think. On American Anxiety, what's that song? It's towards the end of the record, but he sent me that song, and I literally just wrote everything around that.
oh,
Um,
that's pretty
yeah,
sweet.
yeah. So there's been times like that where he's like sent us stuff, and like it's just I was like, oh yeah, like I hear something out of that, and but sometimes I'm like rhythmically challenged, so I'll be like, hey man, like where's the one,
Right.
where's the on this. Um, so yeah, that's some most time more times than not. Where when we like start writing or stuff, like something will be off, and it's like, what is that? And it's like it's always like one beat.
Mm.
It's like always just like one beat like difference of like what him and I are doing, and then like working with Matt Marquez uh locked that in, because later when we were writing and stuff too, we were like, hey, something's weird here, and then like yeah, it was fine. We
You
didn't
guys,
like
you guys play with a click?
no. No, we never have.
Not even
uh
in the studio?
no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's another thing that like we're obviously working on, and like want to do like eventually, but I think like that might be part of the reason why like that first record sounds like so abrasive and like crazy and all over the place. It's just like, dude, it's not to a tempo. It was basically me and Jeremy like in a room, and like that's just we're going off each other.
Yeah. So even on this, like when you send him stuff, you don't send it to him with a click or anything?
I do send it to him
Oh,
with a
okay. That makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
cool.
in that aspect too. So he has like a constant thing, and it's not like faster, slower, or all around. It's like it's simple for him to see what he wants to do.
Yeah, I've been in that situation. Like when we recorded kind of like our first real CD, we didn't use no click or anything, and then there was parts my drummer was playing so fast the second time we came back when we repeated a part that I couldn't even barely play the riff because he was going like almost twice as fast, and I'm like, never again will I record without a click because I can't be having this.
Yeah, Jeremy's done really good at like locking in, over the years, because there was definitely stuff that we all rush, we'd all get excited, and like one of us would start rushing, and then we all start rushing, and I think it was like 2021. No, yeah, I think it was like 2021, like early 2022. We were like, hey, like we're playing these songs really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he plays a lot, right? He was in multiple bands and stuff. Does
Oh
he
yeah.
probably plays a lot on his own?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's another thing that I'm like really like happy about, like working with Jeremy too. Like I know that he like practices like when he can, like on his own time. I know um I met him, this was probably 2012. Both of our old band, well, Sunlight Ascending is his like other band that's like still active. My band from that time period where we met like isn't active or doing anything anymore. But um when I met him in 2012, it was like cool, and like I didn't really connect the dots until way later that it was like, oh dude, like we were like actually like jamming for like the first time or whatever when we like found out that like, oh dude, like those were the bands that we were in. Like this was the show that we met
Oh,
at.
yeah.
It was cool.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, that helps a lot. Like if all the members of the band play as much as they can and then when it's time to get down to business, especially in your situation, if you guys can't even jam. But even if you guys did practice once a week, like I don't feel like that's enough. Like maybe enough for the band, but for person like the kind of music that we play, like I feel like there needs to be a little more effort. Like not just at practice, but that's just a personal opinion.
Oh yeah. No, I got my setup down here. I got three bunch of guitars laying around, amps. Like it's all set up for me to come down here and just riff. So, but yeah, we've just recently started getting back to like together. Like after we finished our second full length back in the mid July, and like we didn't like we all started new jobs. Like some of us got married. Like so we kind of just all like just took our hands off the wheel, and we were like, all right, like let's just readjust to life. Let's do this. And then last week was the first time that me, Nick, Jeremy, and our new bass player Dan got together, and it was like a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We're getting together again tomorrow. So it's we're ready to round out the rest of the year.
Hell yeah, that's cool as hell, man. Because even if all you guys can't get it together, that's all. That's okay. But like, even if you guys can get together, even bi-weekly, like what you were alluding to, like even coming off of that long hiatus on COVID, like you just kind of need it, man. You need to turn up them amps and like feel them drums, and
Yep.
I always say it's kind of like getting bit by the snake. Like you say, well, I could quit. But then what the hell are you going to do? Or 3 months later, your homie's like, hey, you want to jam? You're not going to be like, yeah, no.
Yeah, that was never a thing. Like it was funny. I was talking to Jono Diener from like the Swellers and stuff, 84 Tigers. We were joking around, and we played in the band together for like a second, and like we were like, dude, we need to stop doing that. Like anytime like we see like friends and stuff there, it's like, hey dude, like we should jam and like stuff. And it's like, dude, I gotta stop doing that. Like I'm already in two bands, I got a 3-year-old, I have another kid on the way too. So it's like, dude, I gotta pump the brakes. I can't just be going off jamming all the time.
Yeah, us artists, I think if we had our way, we would just jam all day, and we'd be in like 5 bands. Because I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, I
Oh,
could start another project, but I'd not like I don't have enough shit to do already. You
yep.
know. But tell me a little bit about shows, man. Sounds like you guys are ramping up. I see you got it looks like this what is it, the last 10 seconds of life show coming up here? Is
Yeah.
that you
Yep.
guys' next show that you got rolling, it looks like?
Yeah, I think so. There's like another like weird like little Halloween fest too that we're playing.
Okay.
I think we're going to be announcing some flyers have already leaked, but we're doing like a small like trip out to New York and back here in November too.
Oh, okay.
And then we're playing the Sanctuary celebrating 10 years. So yeah, that's with like Negative Approach, Snafu, Cloud Rat. So that's kind of going to be the one to round out the year.
Yeah, I want to say that I did see the something about that show in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must have got out there. But yeah, so this last the last 10 seconds of life show looks like Cell is playing Salt Wound. That's on October 27th.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
know, so
Real Body are playing that too. Love those dudes. So
yeah. What
anytime I get to play with them, dude, I'll take it.
so whereabouts do you guys all live close besides then besides
I
Kyle?
wish. I wish.
No.
Uh, we're all over the place. I'm in Lansing. Dan's in Saginaw. Nick is in Walled Lake, White Lake, one of the two, and then Jeremy is in Royal Oak.
Okay.
So, but we all get together at Nick's every week or every Thursday. So
Oh, okay.
that seems to be the kind of the center point. It's an hour for me and Dan. Down there. So that's just kind of the way. And then Jeremy with trying to get, through 5 o'clock traffic and shit down there over to his house, again, takes 45 minutes. So
Right.
easy
So
to go.
so can you speak a little bit about this trek that you're going to go on here? You got more information, or you can't really speak on? I mean, this won't be out this week either. We kind of film ahead, so we're about like 4 weeks ahead. But
No, it's not like it's like any like secret or anything. It just I don't have all the details yet.
oh,
Like there's a show that we're like waiting on the details on and stuff too. But yeah, it's like through not Pittsburgh, but Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Long Island. And I think we're kind of like making our way back after that. But yeah, just a quick, jaunt out to Kyle's neck of the woods.
so
So,
so is that kind of what you guys do, the mini tours then when you can?
yeah. We've tried to be smart about that too. You know, um, again, with time off and family and, having kids and stuff, like we got to kind of be a little bit more stingy and strategic about it, more so than we'd like. But again, when stuff is, able to pay for itself and it works out that way, we can keep doing it.
Right.
I like to be gone for, a little bit longer here and there, but, just for, everybody's, we're all in our mid 30s, financial sake, like all that stuff, we all got bills. So, we try and, have that conversation. It's like, well, how many days can we do? When can we do it? Like, is your other band doing stuff? Like there's so many things that kind of go into it. So, yeah, we have to pick our battles.
Yeah, and then, as you get a little bit older too, it's like, you got a house, you got a bed, you got a family, and it's like, well, I got to trudge through, you know, maybe a couple weeks of this, but anything after that seems a little excessive at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. The last run we did with Gift from God, I was the sickest I had ever been. Like they literally, like my bandmates literally had to like set up my shit, and then I would literally get up off the couch and literally like walk over so slow like a fucking old man, play, and then barely be able to get off the stage to like go to the back green room and just like veg out. Like it was I have never been so sick on tour before. That was absolutely terrible. And it's like, being old, in your 30s, it's like, dude, I could be home in my bed right now. Like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? And it, the shows were great.
Yeah, you got
Shows
this.
were absolutely great. We sold a ton of merch. I was just dying.
Yeah, you didn't have a good time.
But everything else went good, and
uh,
they were very understanding and stuff. And like, it was something that, like, I don't think anybody else really got sick. I think Dylan may have got sick like 2 weeks later, like after like the tour ended. But
yeah.
um, I don't think anybody else really got sick. So it's like I had no idea what I had. Like, I don't know, it was bad.
Yeah, especially when you're out there on the road. That's not the most, that's not the best place to be when you have to like nurture some kind of sickness. It's the best place to be to pick something up, though. That's for sure.
You got,
Hey man, I'm not gonna keep you too much longer. I know you're a busy man, but I do got a couple more questions if you're good with that.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right, cool. And like I said, man, I appreciate your time. Thanks for making this work. I know we had to reschedule a few times. Sundays are like the only days I usually have. What's weird about this podcast too is like I have a co-host, and his schedule got mixed up, and he said, yeah, we could do it on Wednesday after I had talked to who runs the Instagram, Nick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nick, like I'll see stuff or whatever, but like I'll normally just like, hey, like just one person deal with it. One person drive that ship.
Yeah, you don't want a bunch of conflicting answers or questions for that matter.
Yep. Yeah. He handles that. I'll handle like the bank shit and all like that back end weird shit. Like we all kind of have like different roles and stuff, but him and I are definitely the band dads.
Hell yeah, that's cool
Yeah.
though. But yeah, so I usually have a co-host too, but then his schedule was weird, and then like he's on vacation right now, so it was like he's like, I got my laptop, but there's no real quiet, and I'm like, it's no big deal. I'll take this one solo. So,
Lucky, lucky guy on vacation.
right. um. So, Mike, real quick, what's your favorite part of being in Wounded Touch?
Honestly, my bandmates, man. Like I feel like I've known all those dudes for years. Like we view each other as friends, not like just people that we get together to jam with. Like, I actually, I think we have like long standing like friendships and stuff out of it and stuff too. And I think that that's, some bands don't have that. And, yeah, I think that that's probably one of my favorite parts about it is I'd have a good group of dudes to lean on and feel comfortable sharing ideas and stuff with. I think that that's the big one. And then secondly to that again, it pays for itself and I can still do it. So I think those are the two main things for me personally.
Yeah, I take a look back at some things that I've done in my life and my band, journey or whatever. And it's just about building those relationships, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you jam with your friends or whatever, it feels better to make good music like with your friends too.
Yeah. And that was like kind of us taking some time off too. It's like, three of us started new jobs, one of us got married. So like, like take some time for life. We always want to be able to take care of each other's, mental health and financial stuff is as best we can. So, we can continue to do it together. So, yeah, that's something we do. We try to watch out for each other as best we can.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, man. Um, so I know now we're coming back around. You talked about recording this new full length. Is there anything you want to speak about that, or what's on the
Uh,
docket, or you just got it recorded, or?
yeah, it's recorded and mixed. I believe it's going to mastering soon. We just sent it off to the label. So it's starting to happen. I'm This record is definitely another step forward, I think, for us. I spent a lot of time writing it. Very proud of it. Um, excuse me. I'm hoping next summer, early fall, that it'll be out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2025 release.
Yeah.
Cool. Any ideas for art or anything like that, or not? Haven't got that far yet.
Yeah. The art has been taken care of.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think Nick found the artist and stuff, and he was really transparent, really cool. I wish I remember his name right now,
Yeah.
but definitely be sure to plug him once the record comes out and you see the art. It's he was very very professional. Sent us three different ideas at a time, and then once we kind of honed in on one, he kind of took like our feedback and then really made it happen. And it's very very cool how it turned out. And yeah, I'm excited to, again, we're very much a visuals and creative band in that sense. So it'll be cool. It's kind of follows the first one, but it's not drawn. It's actually like live, so, or like a live picture. So um yeah, it'll be cool to kind of compare the two covers when it comes out.
Hell yeah, that's cool. I can tell you guys take your art very serious. Do you guys do physical copies too? Then?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. Everything but the cicada has been pressed to something, whether it's a flexi or a 7-inch or a 12-inch. So yeah, Smart Punk has been really cool about giving us like some cool variant options and stuff too.
Nice. Do they have a hand like in the merch too? Then?
They do have a like merch company that they have are merged with.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've done like a few exclusive things through them that are like on like the Smart Punk store, but everything else we've done our in house or with friends. We've gotten shirts and hats from Edgeman before, and then we've gone to Blind Dog, the guy who runs the sanctuary, and we've done both of those, and those are the two guys that we trust to handle stuff. So
Nice. You guys are gonna start shooting some music videos then?
we definitely wore ourselves out with the last two for the split release. So I'm sure once spring and summer kind of roll around, I think yeah, there might be one or two
Now,
on the for that.
sorry to mean to interrupt, man. Now, does Nick does he advertise like out for that, or he just like, hey, I'm available to do music videos for people, or does
He keeps it pretty close.
okay?
He keeps it pretty close. He I want to give him all the credit in the world for all the music videos and stuff, and he doesn't really want to be like, oh, I did it. Look at me, that kind of thing. And I'm like, no, dude, like you did a good job on these. These are like some of the coolest ones that I've seen, like in recent years too. He enjoys film. He enjoys making movies. He's made 3 horror movies that have done pretty well. On his I don't even know what you would call it. Have done pretty well for being independent films.
Okay.
Is what I'm trying to. He very talented dude, man. Yeah, doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the videos I've seen him do, and I've seen him do a few different ones, like a few years back, just some ones that he's done. Not just of you guys' band, but I know he's done a few other bands. But
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about music. We talked a lot about Wounded Touch, and you guys' journey. Like I said, man, I appreciate your time. I'm gonna let you go here in just a second, but what I always like to ask we're metalheads, hardcore dudes, whatever it may be, whatever the universe wants to call us. But what do you like to do outside of music, man? Have any hobbies outside of music?
I try to get my hobby and my job put together. I work in the cannabis industry,
Ah,
and I've really enjoyed that. I've been in it, the legal market, licensed state market, for the last 6 years.
okay.
And it's been up and down. It's been crazy, but I'm with a pretty good company now, and that's I'm able to go see the grow. I'm able to do a bunch of stuff too. So like it's something that I really enjoy, and then I'm able to kind of work and stuff within that industry too. So that's that, and then just watching the kids grow up, man. Like being a dad, like that, like it's just dad, music, weed. Like I'm pretty simple.
Hey, that's cool, man. And yeah, I know you've heard this before, but I have an older son and then a younger son, and they're both getting old really fast, man. It happens so quick.
It truly does. My son's, he's like 3.5 now, and like I've been able to kind of start pulling cartoons up from like my childhood and stuff. And I pulled up Biker Mice from Mars the other day,
Nice.
and super into it. And I was like, dude, when I was your age, dude, this was like my thing, dude. So like, I don't know, it's just cool to kind of see that now and stuff. And I got him a little drum set back here and stuff too, a ukulele. So he's catching on when he wants to, kind
Yeah.
of. So,
And
but
that,
yeah, that's just been a lot of fun, man, watching him grow up.
yeah, and that'll help even when he develops even more, and then you guys, he'll want to hang out with dad even more, and that's always fun.
I can only hope, man. I only hope he
Yeah.
doesn't find out.
Until they get about 13, 14, and then they don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Yep.
So hang on to that. All right, man. I'm gonna ask you one last question, and then I'll let you go. Like I said, dude, I really do appreciate your time. I do really enjoy your band. You guys are awesome. I wish I got to see you when we played with you. I mean, we're still out there. We're still active. We're gonna be hitting it hard next year or whatever. So hopefully, maybe we can squeeze onto a show again together or something. That'd be
Our,
awesome, man.
our paths will cross.
Yeah, for sure. Um, But just to close this out, is there anything new that, or anything that you're listening to right now, like maybe something that's really heavy or on the heavier side that you would want to recommend to somebody, and then maybe something on the more like chill or softer side that you would want to recommend that you're listening to right now?
Right now, I feel like I'm very much in a throwdown rut,
Oh,
throwdown wormhole right now. Which I found out that he did guest vocals on the new Kubla Khan record, so
that's good.
checked out that song too and that record. So that's been pretty, interesting too. The new Knock Loose record still in my rotation too.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be on one of my album of the year list. The latest Candy record too
Okay.
has been on heavy play. Um, Lighter. I want to say I'm still jamming that newer Alkaline Trio record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blood Balls. yeah, that's been another one that's been on my list. New Drug Church songs and record that's about to come out. I've been listening to that too. But yeah, that's probably whereabouts I am right now currently. This is going to probably change in another week, and I'll probably have something completely different to say. But
Yeah, Black Dahlia comes out tomorrow or
yep,
Friday, but it streams tomorrow. Yeah, dude, it's just so much music out anymore. It's hard to even keep up, you know? Like I listened to the Kubla Khan record. Uh that was pretty sweet, and I liked how they kept it to like 26 minutes, and it's just like
yep,
piston heavy the whole time. It's like
yeah,
here's what we do. Here's our point. To me, them guys are very Acacia Strain adjacent. Like
yeah,
I see a lot of Acacia Strain bleeding or them bleeding through Acacia Strain just with that heaviness and that just low end. But it was a good record, and that
yeah,
Knock Loose. I know people give dude a hard time about his vocals, or they kind of make fun of him. And like at first, I'm an old school death metal guy, man. So my taste had to evolve from like the OG shit, like Death Carcass at the Gates, to like a hardcore
yeah,
Knocked Loose. Like I started getting into that stuff later. Obviously way later with Knocked Loose because they're fairly new. But that kind of music. But coming from that, people are like, oh, his vocals or whatever. But like, man, they grew on me. I just think they write sweet shit, dude.
yeah, yeah. Definitely interesting band too. Like I know that they've like switched up tunings and stuff too between like different shade of blue and like laugh tracks and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been doing a few other things that have been interesting and stuff too. But I don't know. I feel like I grew up with like weird vocalists and stuff too. Like I was really into From a Second Story Window in like the early 2000s. So it's like I feel like that weird, shrill, like grainy voice, it doesn't bother me. I
Yeah.
don't think of it really. Um, but yeah, somebody who new hears it for the first time on TikTok or some shit, like, would be like, what the fuck is this? So
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, I played back with a Second Story Window in Ohio one show, and man, them guys fucking like besides like Dillinger, they were like one of the craziest bands I've ever seen throw down in my life. Like I'd never seen the insanity that they did on that particular day. Like I knew they were notorious for destroying shit, but they were awesome too. But I know they kind of have made a comeback lately too. So um,
Yeah. I saw him in Grand Rapids.
at the scheme,
Oh yeah, Scheme.
yeah.
Yeah, they were great. They were great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a while. So, all right, man. Is there anything that we didn't touch on? Anything that you want to promote? Anything that you want to go over, or before we wrap this up?
No, Jason, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Hey,
Good
man,
talk.
I really appreciate you coming on, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing this for about like a year now, and it was an idea that I had. We call it the Metal Maniacs. I wouldn't have normally picked that name. I wanted to pay homage to the magazine that like brought me up, which was called the Metal Maniacs, and they covered like all the extreme metal bands. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like the basis of our pod. You said Sunlight's Bane. I want to say like Nate was in that band, right? From Throne.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and they were on the show. I love those guys. Those guys are awesome too. They came up here in the at the house and sat with us or whatever. But yeah,
Oh
man,
yeah.
we're just trying to do it to promote as much local metal, or I hate saying local because then people look at it a certain way. We'll just say like bands from Michigan,
Yeah.
bands that are out there kicking ass. And
Yep.
we've talked to other people too, outside of the state or whatever, and we got some other stuff lined up. But just you guys, as busy as you are, you taking the time to actually come on our show, we really appreciate it. And what I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna send you like some clips of this show so you can share it on your social medias if you guys want, and some art and stuff. So when it comes out, and I'll be in touch with you guys.
Oh, I love that, man. Thank you.
So, but yeah, man, keep up the good work. Wounded Touch is awesome, dude. Like from the live experience to going through your whole catalog, I really appreciate it. That's another reason why I love doing this show, is because you know how it is. Like there's so many bands, there's so much music, and then there's a lot of Michigan bands or bands that are your peers or whatever. It's hard to listen to everything. But then when I get to talk to someone like you, and I get to take the day or so and just go through your discography and like really dive in and get to know what it's like, kind of from your end as far as, the writing and all of that stuff, that really interests me, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, bro. It's really nice meeting you, and you enjoy your night, and I'll be in touch. I'll probably be in touch with Nick because that's kind of what we went through, but hope to see you soon, man.
All right, man. Thanks again for having me, man.
Hell yeah. Appreciate it. Later, bro.
Have a good night.
Peace.
Thank you so much for checking out the episode. Be sure to hit that like button and give us a share.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed our podcast today, please give it a rating on your streaming service to help us gain some exposure.
And if you really enjoyed the show, please give us a follow or hit that subscribe button and come hang out with us every week. And remember, keep it metal.